يمكن accept Good afternoon, Phnom Penh. Good to see you all. We have like nearly 30 people, so I think a couple of more will be joining soon. So how are you doing? All right, if you put chat area, yes, you're doing fine. I don't see it.
Great, Professor.
That is the answer I was looking for. So we are halfway our sustainability analysis and how things are going. In a good direction?
Yes, in a good direction.
When you make analysis, what do you realize? Let's have a quick round because this is the second week you did some desk research about your industries. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences per team. Also, let's see if teams are already here. Shall we start with construction team? What are your findings last 2 weeks? We don't have much time. You know, this is what consultants need to do. They always have to be prepared to give a very short update about their progress. You are in a project, in a bank, in a construction firm, in I don't know, agricultural firm. You see the CEO and CEO asks you, hey, how things are going? And you should be able to say a few words, few sentences about your progress. Right, education team, how are you doing?
So I can say that it's a little bit hard for us to finding the information, Professor, but we also learn a lot from it at the same time. Yes.
So it's difficult to find information, yes, obviously. Otherwise,
Yes.
they wouldn't hire a consulting team if everything was so clear. Okay, but when you look around, do you see that there is a lot of focus on ESG areas in education in the system in Cambodia?
Not really, because most of them are in the private sector, but for the public, they're not really focusing more on the ESG. Yes.
But that's already a vision about how things are going in Cambodia. It's a good start. Construction team, did you think about your findings?
For us, it's also a bit hard too because there's not a lot of data in research, but we have conduct interview with some of construction employees in Cambodia.
That's very good. You see, if there is no data, you must create data. And I will show you my initial findings. I'm sure you already downloaded handouts, right?
Yeah.
It's in the classroom available. So I did a survey. I sent it first to you and also to, let's say, 25, 30 different people, business people in Cambodia in my network, including Casey, also our school president. And let's see what data will tell. But as I see from data, the construction industry is one of the lowest rated in the industry. So it's very important that you need to understand what is going on there.
Yes, Professor.
Good. Garment, GFTs, they're also scoring low because lots of people are working with very low paid jobs. GFT team, what do you see?
Yes, Professor. From what we can see, I think garment factory tend to focus on from what we compare between environment and social, we can see that they tend to focus on social way more than environmental. And the factory owned by the Western, like European American, they tend to provide more information and they care about ESG more than the Chinese owned one.
Okay, so you see, you already have a little insights that the Western firms are focusing more. But the bigger question is what they put on their websites and what they are telling is true or not, because they could also make a very nice story. It's also in the survey. Do you think companies are overstating what they're doing? I think they are slightly greenwashing their activities. Tourism sector, what are your observations? Anyone from tourism industry?
Hello, Professor. Oh, I thought I unmuted. I'm sorry. And for the tourism industry, we have seen that many hotels are more inclined to do ESG frameworks because now tourists are more aware that the world needs to be more ESG focused. So they try to update their hotels and stuff to be more towards ESG practices.
Okay, I can imagine the large hotels like 5 stars all have, you know, some specific attention. I'm sure they have on their websites about that. But how about smaller hotels and pensions, 3-star hotels, hostels? Do you also see anything going on there?
For one of the hotels that we have interviewed, there is not much. They are not involved in that much of ESG. They just want to make profit. That's it. Yes.
So you see, we already have in all our teams some initial views how things are going on in Chinese versus Americans, small hotel versus large hotels, small construction versus large construction, and private school versus not private school. These are nice inputs.
Yes.
Banks and insurance firms are doing better according to the survey. And I don't know if your findings are aligned with that finance team.
Yes, Professor. Professor, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes, I'm from finance team, and so far, we can see that we are doing the desk research mainly from the annual report. It is quite easy for our industry because there is annual report, especially with the listed company. There are even published the sustainability reporting.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and so far, yes, Professor.
Their sustainable reporting, what does it look like? Because not every company is publishing that. What are how many pages? What they talk about in those reports?
It depends for the bank, such as the Akleda Bank. It was about 20 pages on sustainability reporting, and for the microfinance, such as LOLC, is approximately 5 or 10 page only. But they mention about what they are doing, such as in terms of social, in terms of their CSR, how they improve the environment, such as planting trees and such. And the social, they are doing blood donation or donate to school and their governance. And so far, we have dived into environment and the social sector. We have found that in our industry, the social
I think, there's a connectivity issue there. Still frozen. All right, I think we got the point. Finance team, and any other people, person from finance team to finalize this conversation? Okay, we'll come back to the finance team. And the agriculture team. It's also one of the lowest rated industry according to many participants in my survey. I don't know how your findings are so far.
Hello, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes.
I am part of the agricultural industry, and from my findings, I have found that most of the companies that we research are committed to improving the social aspect of the ESG in the agriculture industry. However, there are still limited data in their internal data in their each of their companies. But overall, all the companies are trying their best to improve the social aspects, as all the companies we choose are part of the Cambodia Rice Federation.
Okay. So especially for your team, you must be really careful to how to evaluate those firms, because it's, if you only look what they say, wow, it's very green, perfect. But if you drive from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap or Sihanoukville, you see in all the rice fields, working people there are not as good as websites are telling. So think about the working conditions from company publication perspective, but also with the reality. So my survey results indicate, especially from the real professionals who joined the survey later, that they are concerned about environment, social, and governance of how agriculture industry as a whole is operating. So keep that critical view in your analysis. And
Yes,
last year we
Professor.
checked your Excel sheets, and then well, this week we will also see where you look for information, how you give these numbers. So we'll have a second look there. Question to finance team, are you back?
Yes, Professor, we are back. We are in the same classroom and the Wi-Fi suddenly cut off.
Okay. So what I will ask, please do send me as an email the 2 reports from Akleda and maybe one another example from a shorter sustainable reporting, because I'd like to see how they report.
Yes, Professor. We will send you through the email.
Okay. Energy. It's also a tricky one. Also, many people think, are they really environmentally friendly? Are they good in social aspects? How the team thinks about it?
Well, for our energy team regarding the SDG, from our research, we can see that most of the company in Cambodia that they focus on energy has done a really good job regarding the like sustainability, green consensus. For example, PTT Cambodia. I don't know whether you have heard of them or not, but they also have like the branch in Laos, Myanmar, Thai, and Cambodia. And from my research and my own experience, they also focus on like wait, they have something called reduce program where they cut down the waste, and they also create a program for the youth where they have the society to to make the youth understand more regarding the sustainability, the SDG, and also how they function their company. And they also in Thailand, they also create a program where they build a whole deforestations to help with the environmental problem as well. And the other companies such as Cambox and also like Total Energy, they also done a really great job as well. And some suggestion that we can suggest to them is that they can improve more, because like most company, they are really big, right? So the amount that they can like contribute to the society, to environment, could have been increased compared to how much they have produced the pollutions.
Very nice. And I am so happy that all teams, we have these running conversations. This is different than reading out loud your slide titles, right? Your bullet points. So this is the progress we are making. And since you have been prepared very nicely about your industries, you know what you're talking about. That's very good. So I am very happy that all teams are up to the speed and they know what's going on in their industries. Maybe one little tip for every team, look for like news, reviews, complaints, critics about in industries. Maybe about this industry, energy industry, maybe there are news about how polluting are there actually in the newspapers, whereas they are telling, no, we are doing just fine. So be as a consultant, like a detective or journalist, try to understand the real pictures behind what they are publishing. Because it's exactly what you will be doing as auditors, financial auditors. Companies can give you financial data, but you need to verify, is it true? Are they adding numbers correctly? Are they putting the items in the right places in the general ledger, for example? How they, maybe they are exaggerating their expenses to pay less tax, right? These are all the things that auditors will do. Our analysis on ESG similarly. Now you're looking at what companies are telling, but it's your task to understand what's really happening behind the scenes. Are they serious about that? Are they genuinely trying to improve that? Maybe they are genuinely trying, but maybe it's not happening. So try to find the same information from different angles. And talking to people is really helpful. So if you know someone who knows that industry, maybe works in that industry, just contact, have 15 minutes phone call will tell you a lot more than 15 hours of desk research. So go for it. Finally, the retail team, supermarkets, how you guys are doing, how your industry is doing.
Hello, Professor. It is doing better than environment. Yes, because like for diversity, we find that it is very popular. Like the employer, they encourage diverse background and culture as well. And also the market, they encourage customer to participate in the community programs. And the labor and law is doing well because they mostly comply with the law, like minimum wage, as well as the safety of the environment. We also search on the review from the customer and other websites to make sure that the shop or the retail are not greenwashing, and we find some evidence as well.
Cool. And also think about, I can imagine the large supermarket chains, etc., must be careful about those things. But there are tons of small shops here and there. Sometimes only owners and families working, but sometimes they have a few employees working for them. So it's also part of the industry. So you have limited space in your heat map. You select 10 companies, but also be aware that your heat map should also tell what is really going on in the in full Cambodia. Maybe in our final analysis, we could say, well, based on this 10 company, it looks like this, but actually, we also hear this extra information or conflicting information or different information that things are slightly different. Wow. This was a nice introduction, so I am aware of what's going on, and I'm glad you were updating me properly like consultants. That's a very big difference from lecture 1 and lecture 7. I hope you also realize the difference. Good job. We are halfway ESG. Next week we'll have governance structures, but I'm sure you already have that input. And then we'll have 2 weeks off for your initial draft presentations. You know these slides already. Halfway. This is also repetitions. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes about these our survey. First of all, we have 40 students, but not all of you have filled the survey. So I had like 30-ish input last week when I checked after our class. So if you haven't done so, you better open it and please carefully put the clicks, because sometimes I see a survey respondents just select everything on excellent, 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 and then enter. That is not a valid response, because everything cannot be excellent. So that means someone just open the field and all right, click, 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 done. It's like a compulsory thing. No, we are trying to understand what is going on from the industry. So if you haven't done so, please join the survey again. As I'll also put in the handouts, you see, our respondents are mainly basic level, which I assume it is most of you are in this group. And maybe some group of professionals are responding from fairly knowledgeable area. So what they believe, the Cambodia companies are moderately overstating, like 60% thinks companies are giving information more green than it is. And if they compare the 3 areas ESG, based on the surveys, we could say that environment is doing least, social is in moderate, and governance is in the neutral area. So least positive environment, then social, and then company governance is in the fairly good or neutral or good area. So that is what we see. An interesting outcome, which is not surprising, the finance and education of tourism, they are doing okay, because they are not very much polluting, and they are hiring right people, and they pay more than average. But if you look at the construction, the least, because you know how construction workers are, working conditions are daily, even in Phnom Penh, right? They are scoring least, and agriculture also very bad, and textile, garment, they are not doing not even halfway. You see, if you think 1 to 5, 1 is poor, very poor, 5 is excellent, the average is around 3, and maybe supermarkets are around the mid-level. Below that, these 5 industries, energy, logistics, garment, agriculture, construction, they are below the mid-level in average, according to our survey respondents. So also think about that. I mean, if you are a construction team member, if you need to fill the document, don't just think about the 2 companies' website. Oh, they are doing great, they're excellent. No, people are thinking differently. So far, we have like 50 respondents as of today, but we need more, because I asked you, do it yourself once, and some of you haven't done, but please do it today, because there's a link here. Also try to involve, try to invite people beyond your team. I don't know, go to your, it could be the case, even one of your parents who knows about these things could be a nice respondent. But what I suggest, you sit next to your parents and a little bit give some explanation about that. And together with your parents, click the areas, because when you maybe your parents thinks, oh, in textile industry, it's excellent, they are perfect. Then you should be a little bit skeptic about that. Then you could ask, why do you think that way? Or they could say, oh, construction firm, you know, I know a guy who has a construction company, small, it's doing great on ESG. But you could say, don't you see how people are working in construction sites? So you could be a little bit guidant if the answers are really off the expectations. So then we 40 people. If we have 40 parents, we have at least 80 participants. And please do find at least 1 or 2 people per person in the industry. Talk to people and, call, and, you can also click when you are on the phone, make it easy for people. Because if you send them the link, they sometimes don't do that. So try your best until next week that we have at least 2 entries per person. That means 80 more. So we should have more than 130 next week. And then we could have another round to make it 200, 250. Can we agree on this? Or are there any doubts, questions about this process? Because this is a nice input to compare what you have and how people think. So the link is still here. You can copy and paste from the handouts. And also visualize this. If people say, wow, banking are doing really, really bad, then you should be able to say, oh, why do you think that? Or if they say agriculture is excellent, then you should be able to, have a little conversation. But if they are more or less aligned with our initial findings, don't interfere. If they say fairly good or poor, fairly good or good, it should be okay. Do you understand what you need to do next 2 weeks? Next to your own analysis, please involve at least 2 people, one from the industry, maybe one your an educated family member who would have an idea about these things. Because I'm really curious how people think about it. And this initial view gives me the feeling, this is the right order that sounds logical. And also cross-check whether your findings are in line with these multiple views. If I look at here, energy of retail supermarkets, it should be yellowish, around 3. It could be a little bit 2, a little bit 4. If finance education, those should be, greenish and dark greenish, because I don't know, maybe some yellowish. But I wouldn't be surprised if I see red areas in agriculture, construction, and the garment industry. So cross-check your findings, and we will also see how you are presenting it. All right, looking at the time, half an hour passed. So please, if you haven't done so, fill in the survey and involve at least 2 people per person until next week. So I'm checking the data daily. Also make sure that some logical data is given. Stop sharing. Where shall we start? Shall we start with agriculture this week? Halfway somewhere.
Professor, tourism industry would like to volunteer first.
Okay, let's start with tourism.
Hello, Professor. Can you hear me, Professor?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Professor, and hello, everyone. I'm Lena from Tourism Group. And so last week, our team has walked you through the environmental issue of ESG that the 10 top hotels in Cambodia have implemented. So this week, I will show you the ESG assessment on social issue instead from the same hotels, namely Rambutan, Phnom Penh Hotel, Resort, Sofitel, Hyatt, Angkor Village Hotel, and many more. So first of all, there are three aspects of social issues that we're going to look at. The first one is about diversity and equality. It's about ensuring a diverse workforce in the hotel, equal opportunities given to everyone, and there's an inclusive work space culture. The second one is about the stakeholders and community. It's about focusing on engaging with local community, giving back to the societies through any form of supports or charities. Lastly, it's about labor law and conditions. It's about whether the company or the hotel follow the Cambodian labor law and providing fair compensation for their staff and maintaining a safe working conditions for them. And before jumping into any other details, let's look at the summary score that we have analyzed. So in Cambodia, we can see that our practice, the hotel here, are just neutral because we just started to raise the awareness about ESG. While for around the world, hotel around the world, they score better than us because they're having more awareness on these ESG issue and also starting earlier than in Cambodia. And among the three aspects here, you can see that stakeholders and the community score the highest. As many hotels here, they do more charities and also more aware of the social issues such as giving back to the societies and helping them through any forms of campaigns. Now let's jump right into the point, which is diversity and equality. And according to our interview with several hotels, such as Wanapum Guest House and also Onra Hotel, as well as reviewing different hotel website and report, a lot of hotels in Cambodia now, they are fairly committed to promoting diversity and equality. Hotel, they hire people based on their knowledge and experience rather than their gender or showing any bias to any kind of nationalities. While for the salary, also based on their performance as well. For example, at Rambutan Phnom Penh Resort, they strive to create an inclusive and welcoming environment for all staffs as well as the guests, their customers. And also they foster a sense of acceptance and respect to everyone. As for the international, we also check for Hyatt Hotel in various countries to found that and we found that in the US, the Hyatt Hotel is very serious in implementing the ESG on diversity and equality. As we can see, currently, they are close to achieving 70% of their target of 2025, about doubling the number of women in significant senior roles outside the US. And moreover, if there's another example, like
Marriott Hotel as in May 12, 2023. Their board of directors consists of majority of women and people from different color and representing about 8 out of 13 members. So it shows us that the world are focusing on improving the diversity and equality and the ESG practice as well. Moving on.
Very nice word. But you know, you can talk forever about this, but we have limited time.
Yes.
So I have to interrupt you. So thank you so much. So I love the presentation. I like the crisp summary that you have. I'm sure you are developing your Excel sheet that we are not going to check today. Right, but make sure that your Excel sheets are developing properly. Like we checked last week, we are not going to check this week. But when you finish, I will ask all teams to send me your full Excel sheet so that I could have a little verification afterwards. So keep improving your Excels.
Yes, Professor.
Who's next?
Thank you.
Who is next? Agriculture team, I ask you now this time, I will ask again, because last time you were also very last. Don't hide. Anyone? Can someone talk to me from agricultural team? I'd like to understand what's going on.
Hello, Professor.
Hi.
Our team is the connection is slow. Can we do it in the next team, please?
Okay, also prepare your Excel because I'd like to cross-check your information. Okay, who's next?
Professor, can retail go next?
Yes, retail, go ahead.
Okay, wait a second, Professor.
Okay, so let's start now. Hello, Professor. Here is the slide for our retail industry. I think that the social aspect is doing better than the environment. For example, let's focus on the diversity and equality, which average score is 3.6. It is above average. We see that in the retail culture, discrimination is rarely expressed in the workforce and in the customer service, which is a positive factor. We could see that in the Aeon Mall and Chipmunk, they have provided facilities for elderly and people with disabilities, like example restroom for wheelchair, and it means that they have put commitment into inclusivity. While for diverse background, we see that employers usually encourage employees from different culture, but this is more of a marketing tool rather than they try to employ the ESG principle. There are many areas for improvement as well, such as the gender equality and support for the working environment for people with disability. Like in the worldwide best practice, the global company, they are monitored for whether this company, they employ the balanced number of female and male in the workforce or not, and whether they provide support for the working environment of the people with disability. But in this case, the 10 companies that we search on, they do not claim on such information. And we hope that they could improve on that. Also, we encourage that the large company in the retail industry, they produce reports that highlight the data about the diverse background of their employee, the gender, the ethnicity, so that they could enhance the diversity image and also to have better control and oversight on the diversity and equality area. And for the stakeholder and community, we see that charity and donation in Cambodia is very popular and also welcomed by the customer. Retail stores and market area are places that such programs are set up so that customer could gather and gain attention from the customer. We also see that retail stores, they encourage customers to participate in the programs, and which we rate high on the performance and effort. Also, we also rate high on the customer service, especially the international brand that land in Cambodia, like UCare, The Body Shop, and Toyota, in which they make sure that ingredients are safe and that of natural ingredient. Also, we see another weakness, which is the feedback. Barely they encourage customer feedback. When we check on their Facebook page and their website, they do not provide space for customer to feedback. It is hard for the community to observe whether these companies, they try to be better or put effort into listening to customer and improve or not. So we encourage them to have better improvement in such area. Now, lastly, for labor law and condition, the average score is 3.8. We see that they put commitment into complying with the labor law. Example, paying their employee higher than the minimum wage, 8 hours of work, and safe environment. Also, training programs are encouraged as well, like they want to improve the customer service skill and indirectly helpful for the employee career as well. Safety and welfare is rated good by their own employees. So that is the end, and thank you for listening.
Okay, nicely prepared. Assuming you're also update your evidence findings in your Excel sheets, like every other team. All right, thank you, tourism team. Who's next?
Professor, can our construction industry?
Let's go with construction.
Hello everyone, and good evening, Professor. Today we have another ESG analysis, which is about social in the construction industry. Based on our research and analysis on the heat map, we can see that the diversity and equality part is scoring about by
Make it slideshow, please, then it's bigger.
Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, we can, but make it slideshow so that I could see it larger.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
better, thank you.
Okay. So let's continue to our presentation. Based on our assumption, most companies value the quality of gender, which we can see that women are estimated to be around 30% of total the workforce in the construction industry. And for the background culture, it seems that from our analysis on the 10 company, most of the shareholder and the head office staff in those companies are significantly different nationality, such as French, Chinese, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and Japanese. And for the next part, which is about the stakeholder and the community, we can see that it score around 3.9, which is almost good, because based on our analysis, we can see that the company has engaged very well with the stakeholder and the community. Like from our evaluation, almost all the company has participated in cleaning the environment, planting the tree to contribute their helping in society. For example, like OCIC create a project called Green Oasis in 2024, which their purpose is to planting 10,000 trees in Cambodia. And for the company like CMED, they donate 15,000 to Cambodia Red Cross for poverty campaign. And another is Bainhood company. They donate 100,000 to some like the Techno Young Volunteer Doctor Associations to prevent the spread of COVID-19 disease in 2021. And based on our site visit at Watanabe Building, we have learned that from the manager of Watanak Capital, he has mentioned that the company has tried to employ the domestic worker employee rather than foreign to support local supplier, which can boost the local economy and community. And lastly, we have labor and condition. In this part, it scored around 3.4, which is also the good score too. The score show that the company have been looking after the employee very well, include training program. We have companies like us, OCIC, CMC, Chipmunk, Watanak, and other company have provided their employee with a good condition, training program in learning opportunity, and internal career movement like 5 days on a weekday. And moreover, some company have provided annual trip, like Watanak prepare a special reward for the outstanding employee every one time every year, and they have an annual trip to Gai Province to appreciate the employee in 2023. And one more, OCIC have an annual trip was joined by 26 people on the December 19, 2015. However, compared to the two point of above, it seems that the company provide a good benefit to the employee. However, their working condition for a construction employee in Cambodia on site is a bit lower compared to the other country. Move on to our worldwide best practice. In diversity and equality part, we have diversity hiring practice. This can involve like actively seeking out candidates using diverse hiring panel and ensuring job description that are inclusive and free from bias. And the second point is equal opportunity policy, like implementing policy that promote equal opportunity and prohibit discrimination and harassment. And the next part is stakeholder and community. We have like the first point, long-term planning, which is to ensure business sustainable goal. Community and stakeholder must consider working together in a long-term strategy planning. And the second point, we have maintain and keep informed with stakeholder and involve stakeholder in decision-making process, especially on the issues that directly affect them. And lastly, we have the labor law and condition part. In this part, we have employment construction right, which provide a clear right to employee construction that align with labor law and regulations such as insurance, safety, working environment to prevent accident during their work and health condition. And lastly, we have employment engagement survey. It's like regularly conduct surveys to ensure employee satisfactions and improving the area for a working better environments. That's all for my presentations. Thank you for paying and listening to me.
Very well prepared. Thank you so much. Also think about, you see how people evaluate construction, right? In the survey results. And your companies are doing obviously good, but I'm still wondering how to position this, because if you had smaller companies in the Excel sheet, I'm sure some of them will be reddish, some of them will be greenish. Let's see how we can make this presentation, in the final presentation, in a way that you also bring information from the smaller companies. So I'm a bit worried to tell this, based on your findings, we are doing great, whereas the other 200 people will see what's going on in construction market, that they say, no, it's not that green. So let's think about that, and maybe you will have another page showing that, okay, our big companies are doing fine, but these are the bullet points, that observations, maybe pictures, maybe reports stating that smaller companies are in not a good shape.
Yes.
Discuss this with the team. Also, same with agriculture team. They can look at the top 10 companies doing fine, but you have to bring information what's going on. The same conflict is also part of GFT team. If you select only American companies, everything green. If you only choose Chinese, it's something else. And if you have local companies, you will see different. So we have to incorporate this segments in our final story. So this feedback is for all teams. Right, who's next?
Professor, can energy team go first?
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, wait a bit, Professor. So, before I start, I first greeting Professor and everyone. My name is Sumay. I'm from Energy team. I will do presentation on ESG analysis that focus on social analysis in the energy industry. So first, diversity and equality average 4.8. So because our company like PTT Cambodia, Siemens, and Total Solar prioritize access for diverse group, and Gamwork and StarX support margin community where we pay corporation, the Blue Circle and Sunset focus on creating inclusive workplace, and moreover, GE Cambodia and Yanda Boiler are committed to diversity with room for growth. And another part for stakeholder and community, Siemens Total Solar and the Blue Circle incorporate community feedback into their solution, and Gamwork the Sunship engage stakeholder in sustainability effort, where PTT Cambodia spearhead project like the battery waste collection project, and for StarX and GE Cambodia, be a strong partnership within community, labor law and connection. For labor law and connection, PTT and Siemens prioritize safety and fair wages, while Gamwork and StarX focus on improving welfare for workplace, and Total Solar and Sunship offer additional benefit to employees. Moreover, we OK and GE meet legal standard and aim for further enhancement. And for worldwide best practice, diversity, equality, implement inclusive policy and diverse hiring practice, ensure equitable access to resource and opportunity for all people. Example include PTT Cambodia Diversity Program, Gamwork Rural Financing, and Siemens and Total Solar, GE and StarX also contribute to inclusiveness through diversity effort. And for stakeholder and community engage stakeholder in community project and sustainability, and keep communication channel open for feedback. And PTT Cambodia focus on environmental effort. Gamwork and Sunship work on energy solution, where Siemens and Total Solar concentrate on local project. And for labor law condition, comply with national labor standard and ensure fairness and maintain safe workplace. And moreover, company prioritize regulation with a focus of safety and fairness. So that's all of my presentation, Professor. Thank you.
Okay. Once again, your selected companies are doing excellent, like 4.3, 4.7, 4.0. Cross-check the news reports and try to talk to people in that industry, how they are doing. Maybe it's the reality. Also try to see how smaller companies, if there are doing in that area. So I see that consulting teams are now growing their knowledge in that industry. Now it's time to look around what is visible to you. Great work. Thank you very much, Energy team.
Yes,
Let's see
thank you.
who's joining next.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I'm from the finance team. Can we go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Professor. Sure. What am I doing? Social.
High scores.
Good evening, Professor. So on behalf of the finance teams, I'm going to present our findings on the social aspects for our industry. So after much consideration, we have seen that there are a lot of similarities in terms of our industry in Cambodia compared to the worldwide best practices. If we were to look at the diversity and equalities in the Cambodia industry, we can see that a lot of organizations, especially like the major banks like ABAs, ECLIDA, or even like microfinances of LOC, and even insurance company like Prudentials, they're actually putting a lot of work and recognizing the gender balances in their workforce. So they are increasing in the percentage of women working in their firm, and also collaborating with different women empowering initiatives so that they can encourage young women entrepreneurs. And one of the most common thing that we also notice is that there's a lot of focus of these companies specifically in indigenous and disability communities in our country. So they are putting a lot of practices and helping the community itself and implementing non-discriminative measures so that their employees are properly trained and respond fairly to the needs of all. Well, if we were to look at the world best practices, we can see that many of the financial institutions are leaning towards a lot of the diversity, equities, and inclusion practices. So, which they are aiming to increase the representation of the underrepresented groups by creating targeted recruitment strategy, diversity training, and even mentorship programs. However, one of the most common things we can see that although both are claiming they are trying to bring in more inclusion for female representative and racial ethnicity, there's still lacking in terms of representation of those minorities and in like executive levels or senior levels. If we were to look at take ABA, for example, most of the board of directors are mostly consist of males, and even with the key management team, there's only about 6 women out of 22 key managements are actually women working on these areas. And if for the worldwide practices, we can see that according to the research though, from McKinsey and companies, they said that there's only about 16% of leaders on the executive team are actually historically underrepresented ethnicity. So although the industry is doing well, there's still a need in improvement in that area. Well, we were to look at the stakeholders, communities, both industry are doing pretty well. They're putting a lot of effort and significant funds into helping, aiding, and promoting the well-being of their communities. Most of these are given through funds and donations, especially in Cambodia. They are helping a lot with aiding support education for children, aiding them with proper hygienic medical supplies, and especially with the financial inclusions and financial literacy on children, so that those minorities groups have better access and understand more about the financial institution. Well, worldwide practices are the same with, we can see with JP Morgan's or the Bank of the America, they invest billions of dollars into workforce development program to support the economic opportunities in the underserved communities, as well as providing more economic opportunities with affordable housing and small business support. And finally, for the labor law conditions, both are fairly similar in Cambodia. Most of all the companies are complying with the relevant labor law and regulation, providing the minimum wage, the working hours, the proper benefits and compensative packages, such as the insurance or pensions, or even going as further of supporting the families of the employee themselves. Now, what's one interesting if we were to look at is that although they're providing a lot of benefits, they're still a bit lacking compared to the worldwide practices, because in if we look abroad, the worldwide practices actually emphasize a lot on the employee well-being and the work-life balances. So they offer like flexible working time arrangement, or even customizing and implementing new working culture by accommodating hybrid or fully remote working models for the employees. Where we were to look in Cambodia, there's really not much of flexible working time for employees. So I guess that is one of the way that our industry can improve and take into consideration. So that is for our industry findings. And also one of my teammates have sent you the links in
Yeah,
the
I got
chat.
it.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Very well prepared, very well explained. Also, you know, you can find the some reports. But once again, please cross-check, dig information, try to find some conflicting information. Talk to journalists, look at the news, talk to people who work in banking. Maybe they see as an insider very different their stakeholder community story. Maybe they will say, all right, we mentioned that all this stuff, but they don't care about diversity. I'm sure maybe they will say it that way. So it's very easy for your team to talk to at least one banker, maybe two different banks, sit next to each other and fill in that survey, and in the meantime, talk about it.
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Thank you for nice preparations. We have 3 teams left, and let's see who will be next.
Professor's education will go.
Which team? Education. Okay.
Yes. So, good evening, professors, and hello, everyone. I'm from education industry. So, we are moving on to the social analysis of education industry. In this analysis, we divided into 3 different main points, and for the first one is diversity and equality. So the university in Cambodia aim for equal access for the students, but for the public university, some of the public university they might request the student to take the entrance exam before getting in the university, such as the architecture and the healthcare. But at the same time, there is a little bit lack of the diversity, because most of the professors are from the national, but if compared to the private university, they require students to take the entrance exams before getting into the university, and they have the higher number of the diversity, because most of the professors come from the different come from different countries, and also the student they have many exchange program for the student from to another country, and also in Cambodia. So due to this, it might be a higher tuition fee for the private university, so that it will be favorable for the student from the middle class, and it will be the limitation from the student that is in the lower class. And moving to the stakeholder and community, so university in Cambodia collaborate with the local organization and government in order to improve the performance of the students. Such as some of the university, they try to host the conference and invited the speaker that have the real experience practice from different majors, and then they share the experience with the student, so mean that the student can have enough time to prepare before step into the real workforce, and it's really helpful for the student. Moreover, there's also host some charity events, and this is really useful, because they not only practice their soft skill but hard skill also. Mean that at the same time they can help to develop the community by collecting all those donations, and otherwise they also can the student can have the ability or opportunity to coordinate the charity events. And for the last one is human capital and development. So university play a really important part to help the society to be developed, because so nowadays university in Cambodia are focusing more how to develop the performance of the student before they graduated by giving them the opportunity to involve in the internship experience and also the study program. And some of the university also giving the chance to the student to join with international competition, so that they not only knowing their surrounding, but also how the workforce look like when they, so it will be useful for them in the futures. And since they are developing day by day, so this so it will be the productive human resource for the society in the futures. And moving to the worldwide best practice, for these three examples we are using is comparing with the Asian country, because we think that Cambodia might more fit with the Asian country other than the European or another country. So, and these three top universities, these three universities are a top university in their each country. So for the University of Indonesia, they are focusing and prioritize for the student to access the higher education, and also they promote a lot of exchange program for their students, so that they will have more chance to exchange their cultural between each other. And the second one is stakeholder community. We would like to choose the University of Philippines and Diliman, because this university are giving the opportunity to the student to do the research, providing the research best, and but at the same time they also take those research as a consideration for their development country. And the last one, we took the Vietnam National University and Ho Chi Minh City. So this city offer a lot of special program and really focus on how to develop their student into the world best after they graduated from the university. And that's all of my presentation. Thank you.
Again, very well prepared and very well explained. So I find the presentations also getting really nice, because also not the same team member is speaking all the time, because every week I also note the names. You know, all team members are participating. This is very nice, because a couple of years ago, only 1 or 2 members were speaking and the others were waiting. So my suggestion was, you know, don't hide, you know, come here and talk about it. And I see it is happening. If there are no team members, or if there are some team members that didn't present yet, please take the opportunity, let's say, for next week. You know, you don't have to be the best presenter in the world. You don't have to speak best English in the class, but you know, you have to get used to for this presentation. So don't be shy. You know, we all are not native speakers, and I make mistakes in my grammar and in the word choice, pronunciations, but I still do my job, and you should also be in that level. So I encourage next week's those who didn't speak up yet. So that's the homework for new team members, and we'll be fine. Don't worry. So thank you, education team. Let's see if GFTs or agriculture will jump in the conversation. Yes. Garment, footwear, travel goods, textile. We don't hear anything. Probably you are on mute if you are talking.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can now hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, I already opened the camera. I'm using different device for camera. I'm using different device for sharing screen as my.
I can see the slides. It's no problem.
But you cannot see my face, right? I have already opened the camera. Maybe there are
Anyways,
connection issue.
it's okay. Maybe your camera is not connected. Feel comfortable. We are listening.
Okay, so good afternoon, Professor. We are from Group 3, Garment Industry. So today we will discuss about our observation and best practice in the industry in terms of social. Like I have said previously, social is doing slightly better than environment, and for now, for the diversity and equality, the average score is 3.85. And the garment industry has showcased progress in diversity and equality, particularly regarding gender representation. And from what we have observed, some countries have other aspects such as disability and ethnicity inclusion. But we can see here, tactics are a good example with its disability employment, but the industry still needs a broader lens on diversity. So now let's go to stakeholder and community. The average score is 3.85, which is the same. Many factories engage in the community in a way such as employing local people, donating clothing like New Rainbow Factory, donated more than 15,000 units. And they are also supporting vulnerable community like the one who live in the local area around the factory and maybe in the slum. Although a few factories tend to lack sufficient initiative for the society, which means that the community engagement could be in proportionate to their size of the business and the impact to the society. Now for the labor law and conditions, many factories have demonstrated a good compliance as evident from the certification that they received like from ISO. Also, most factories at least follow the basic requirements such as ensuring fair wage and safe working conditions, although just a few have gone above and beyond to ensure that worker well-being and development is also being considered. And looking globally, garment manufacturing Cambodia could take the model from the ILO code of practice on safety and health in the textile industry, which provide advice on the way to control hazard and the safety in the building, and also the Accord on Fire and Building Safety in Bangladesh, which is a legal binding agreement between brand, retailer, and other stakeholders to enhance safety in garment factory in Bangladesh, as well as the factory can take care of their worker well-being through skill developing program that invest in education program that empower worker with valuable skill that can help boost their employability and maybe having their productivity and their future career advancement. And while also the factory should also encourage union representation that encourage union to professionally represent worker interest within legal boundary, help minimizing disruption to factory operation. So this is the end for my presentation here, Professor.
Okay. You only look at the large firms, right, in your analysis?
We have looked at both large and a small one, both listed company, also a small factory locally at province.
Okay, and you have both Western and Eastern and Chinese versus Americans. You have a combination, right? So you cover the full industry.
Yes. Yes, we cover both Western and also Chinese.
Okay. Because those averages are really high, and I am wondering if it is what is going on in textile industry. I know it's a lot of people are working there. and it's large export dependent with low wages and very hard working conditions. At least it is my impression without diving into the material. And when I look at how people generally evaluate this industry, it is little less than 3.8. So you see my point. I'm just trying to figure it out. Are we telling the full truth, or are we just reporting what we see? So that is, I don't know the answer. I'm not saying what you're saying is not true or true, but I have these thoughts, and these thoughts should be within all teams. So take a critical look, what you see, what you find, and try to find more evidence, maybe showing a different picture. It could be a news article, it could be a interview with one of the managers in the industry. So don't take anything as face value. Once again, if you are working in an audit firm, you should also take as solid truth what companies present you. You are there to audit, to challenge, to verify, find the evidence, control, make a reconciliation, and make a reporting. So keep that mindset also when you are developing, when you will be developing your final recommendations. Because next week we will talk about the governance topics. And then 2 weeks later, you should be able to say something general. Okay, now you have seen those industries, those aspects. Okay, what are your key takeaways? You know, how can you conclude? What kind of recommendations you will be giving? So what will happen? You will make for next week another page. After that, we need to bring everything together. Also talking to the industry people, and then try to sketch a more realistic view than only reporting what companies publish. I hope I am making myself clear towards the end product. And when you make your initial recommendations on the 14th of May, then we could have these discussions, and you will have another 2 weeks to actually. Sorry, I'm correcting. The 14th May next week we'll discuss governance, and 28th of May we'll see your big picture, your draft full presentations with summary of findings and summary of recommendations. And then we'll see when is the best time to make final presentations. Is it early June or late June that we'll have together a discussion around that? All right, that gives the floor to our remaining team. And since the beginning, I'm inviting them. They try to put themselves in the last spot. Okay, agricultural team, let's see, what do you have this week?
Hello, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So for our social aspects of the agricultural industry, for the diversity and equality, we rated an average of 3 for.
We can't hear you properly because there is background noise. Can you shut them? Yes, that's a good move.
Sorry, Professor. So for the diversity and equality, with an average of 3 score, we noticed that companies such as Soma and Apsara Rice has welcomed and celebrated diversity. And based on our research, we have also noticed that there are more women working in the agricultural industries than men.
And for the second point, stakeholders and community, with an average of 4.2 for overall companies, the stakeholders and community, due to their high level of community distribution, such as the company Royal Rice that has donated rice 350 kilograms to the Little Hope Orphanage. While
Okay, I have a little interruption here. It's brilliant that you find this detailed information, but let's think about for whole Cambodia. Now, there is one company donate, what is it, 350 kilograms the rice, and then suddenly that industry is very good about that. So, well, this is specific, very unique industry where people think that conditions are the lowest, very poor, and with 4.2 and 3.7, it is too greenish. So my advice to your team, and I know it is more difficult than banking because they have all the information. So you will have a more tough time to find information. It's okay, we are going there slowly. So do find the right information to share. Because I can imagine many women are not treated properly. They have to work long hours. They have to take care of their kids. There must be a huge societal issue in agriculture and women. And somehow our report should bring that information into picture. So your Excel sheet maybe shouldn't only look at what these 10 companies are publishing. Maybe delete 2 companies and add there, what is public, the information, available data. I don't know, I'm just thinking about loudly. But also think about when you make those slides. Once again, a company donates 350 kilogram rice. What is it? Is the one car? It cannot be representative information for the whole industry. All right, let's hear what your findings are so far.
Yes, Professor. So on to the third point of labor law and condition. We scored it an average of 3.7 because most companies provide training and insurance to their companies and also annual health checkup for their family as well. And for the worldwide best practices for our agricultural industry, we chose crop rotation that is from United States, Europe, and Australia. By rotating crops, it helps maintain soil fertility, reduces pests and diseases, while also managing weeds effectively. For example, in the US, farmers often rotate corn with soybeans or wheat. And the second point is community-supported agriculture, which is CSA, that we took from Japan and Germany. The CSA involves consumers directly purchasing shares of a farm's harvest, providing farmers with upfront capital and consumers with fresh and locally grown produce. With countries like Japan and Germany, they have a vibrant CSA movements that help strengthen the connections between farmers and consumers. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, shall I advise your team to get together, challenge your findings so far, whether or not selecting the right companies or getting the right information, and update your Excel with evidence as well as your heat map. Then we can have next week a little more elaborative discussions. Because the survey survey respondents, currently 60. Well, I think 10 students already included their feedback. I quickly checked, saying this industry is scoring lowest, like average 2.2. I want you to dig into that information. If all companies are doing great, find companies who are not doing great so that your average becomes a little bit more realistic. If you can't find company, have I don't know, at least 1 or 2 columns addition saying that, okay, these are the local news. Local news are saying women are treated bad. National Statistic Institute are saying they are the lowest paid jobs in this country. So this is a very challenging industry, I agree. But here's the feedback. As a team, start thinking a little more critically. Is it clear what I'm saying, agriculture team?
Yes, it's clear, Professor. Thank you.
Okay, have some quality time with your team and try to think, where can we find some more statistics, some more facts, like how many percentage of women are working, or how many, look at your selected companies, how many percent of population you're covering. Maybe these 10 companies you selected is maybe employing 50,000 people, whereas 5 million people is working in the industry. So it comes back to the original facts and figures. So by now, you know a lot about your industry. It's time that you start rethinking. This advice also similar to construction and also GFT teams, because what you bring as information is all positive. That's about greenwashing. Same with the banks. They are so great in their publications. So task is where to find conflicting critical information. So that is the next stage in our learning progress, which I'm very glad we reached to this level, because this is only possible when you all have a certain level, certain good level, so that we can go from good to better, and from better to excellent in your final presentations. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your hard work presentations, and you all did a good job. Also in agricultural team, you're doing good. Next week we'll have a little more closer look to agriculture team, and you are going to start. Can we agree on that?
Yes, Professor.
Great. Looking at the time, we are amazingly on time. First time, so we finished on the right second almost. Any questions for the upcoming week? Okay. Governance issues. Think carefully and think critically. Look what they are saying and think what is happening in Cambodia about governance issues. And have a good preparations. And after next week, you'll have 2 weeks off. So 1 more week to go. And please, please, please don't forget about the surveys. So find a parent, find an industry member, and let's see what next week will bring. I hope 80 more will come, plus 60. So if I have less than 140, I will have questions. And our main goal to make it maybe for the final presentations, another 80. So 250 people will be representative to talk about these issues. And I'm also happy how things are developing. Wonderful. Then I wish you a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday, same time.
Bye, Professor.
Take care.
Bye, Professor.
Bye, Professor.
Bye.